And what was that transition like? What was it like becoming president?
Well, it was very good. It's been exciting for me. One of the great things about my career and my background is that I've never been particularly threatened by thinking that I was the sharpest knife in the drawer. In fact, I've always been surrounded with people that were brighter than I am. I remember when I went through the match, and I don't need to explain that to you, most places don't understand that, but when I went through the match and matched for a straight medicine internship at Duke, and then got the list of the people that were there, most of them were AOAs. You all know what that is. Always overly anxious. Yeah. They were all AOAs, and 7 or 8 of them were from Harvard, and kids from Yale, and a few from Duke, and some Southwestern, and some other very good places. And I went to my father thinking I could get some solace. And I said, you know, all of these people are smarter than I am. And he said, you're probably right. And they'll know things I don't know. And he said, you're probably right. But one of the things that I'll bet they can't do is work harder than you can. And I think that that is probably true. I think Wayne can tell you that our father didn't drive us with a whip, but he was a very hard worker. For a lot of years, I used to kind of resent the fact that we always had tasks to do at home on Saturday morning before we went to play, and not all my friends had to do those kinds of things. But I think that's been one of the things that, for a plotter like me, that if you're not as smart as some people, at least if you work as hard as you can get some things done. So I got to BYU, and I think that a few of them knew me because I'd worked with them in different ways. I think that one of the things that helped me is that as average as my career is, they felt that at least I'd done some of the academic kinds of things. I was not threatened by having bright people, and I've always tried to surround myself with people that are brighter than I am. And I've done that with the appointments that I've made, and now with the associates that I have on board. For example, my academic vice president is a man by the name of Brent Webb, who's an internationally acclaimed mechanical engineer. And one of the 2 or 3 experts, I'm told by those who know internationally, in the phenomenon of heat transfer. And so he's widely published in terms of, you say, what is that all about? Well, when heat is generated in an explosion or in whatever else, it matters greatly how you dissipate the heat, and that's one of his expertise. My advancement vice president is a guy by the name of Kevin Worthen, who is a college basketball player, but more importantly than that, was a Supreme Court justice, clerk. He was not a clerk, not a justice himself, but he was a clerk at the U.S. Supreme Court, and a nationally recognized expert in Indian water law. By the way, Amy, he grew up in Carbon County too. And so, you know, you have those kinds of people around that are really very good. And so for me, it's been exciting every day. People know, since my church has declared me officially elderly last October, that maybe I'm ready to quit. But the fact of the matter is that almost every day is a great tutorial. Because on almost anything that we deal with, there are people around me that know more than I do about it. And so my job is to try to answer, or to ask the right kinds of questions, and to try to bring consensus, but I find that very stimulating.
Well, you have been a real inspiration to everyone. Before I open it up, I just have to ask you one question, which is, tell us a story about Wayne.
Well, how much time do you have? Since we want to open it to questions, I won't give you all of the details, but
he's already
when you have the opportunity, ask Wayne about a very distinguished American. I think he was an American by the name of Thaddeus Brewster. I probably shouldn't say any more about that, but if you ever think Wayne may be trying to mislead you or to pull the wool over your eyes, think of Thaddeus Brewster.
Okay, we're going to have to dig into that one a little bit.
Yeah,
This is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Just merely an accident of inadequate adult supervision at a critical time in my life.
What he's really saying is that my dad was on a sabbatical. Our father was the a faculty member here, and was on a sabbatical in Mexico. Wasn't that right? And my wife Sharon and I, as newlyweds, medical students, had the unenviable position of trying to keep the homestead in one piece, and to answer the calls from the police and other people about the misbehavior of younger siblings. And anyway, Wayne can fill you in with that, but just remember that if it is at all positive is in his favor, he's shading the facts.